time someone talks about you in another language and you showed them that you understood them in that language?
Unfortunately, this happens to me way too often. So I create K-pop dance covers on Instagram and TikTok, and naturally I'll get Korean viewers. This also means I also get Korean hate comments. And every single time, they tag a friend or a boyfriend and they'll say something like, 야, 이 돼지 좀 봐. 오빠, 나 이렇게 뚱뚱해지면 좋아할 거야? 야, 네 여친이다, 돼지. I feel like they always assume that I'm not Korean or that I don't speak Korean at all. So I'll reply something like, 악플다는 게 재밌나 봐요. 너무 웃기다. And let me tell you, the speed at which they delete their comments, serotonin.
Hi, so basically, back in the day, I used to be a waitress, and this was like 3-4 years ago, and I didn't wear a headscarf. So I didn't wear a headscarf, and obviously I speak and understand Arabic, and there were 4 Arabic girls, and I was taking their bill, they finished the food, taking the bill, the card payment, and so they were talking to each other, and then one of the girls were like to the other girl, oh, like, wow, her eyes are pretty, blah, blah, blah. And then the 2 other girls, they were like, no, she isn't. She's, like, not special and she's not pretty. And fair enough, if you don't think I'm pretty, then I don't care, do you know what I mean? But at that moment of time, when you're stood there and people are chatting shit, you'll be like, what the fuck? So anyway, before they walked out, I was just like, shukran, which means thank you in Arabic. And yeah, they were gobsmacked.
So one time I was in Korea and I was ordering food at a restaurant, and sometimes I order in English just to get over the sort of social anxiety aspect of it, I shall say. So I was like, hi there, can I get one tteokbokki and one kimchi jjigae, please? But then all of a sudden the waitress just goes, sure, no worries. 지훈아, 일로 와봐. 이분이 담하는 데를 너무 닮았는데? So at this point I'm like, okay, I have to say something because this is just so funny. So they come back and they're like, okay, here's your food. If you need anything else, just let us know. Oh, thank you so much. 근데 혹시 저랑 스파이더맨을 너무 닮았다고 생각하세요? Their reactions. They literally were just like, 뭐라고요? 와, 진짜 한국말 너무 잘하는데? 네, 대학교에서 공부했고요. 헐, 인정. I wish I looked like Tom Holland. That'd be fun.
I bet. I already told the story, but I'm gonna tell you this again because it fits the context so well. If you guys didn't know, I also speak French. Oui, monsieur. This one day, I'm just doing my job and these 2 guys come into the store and I end up serving them. I could already tell they were French just from the whole accent they've got going on. End up getting the shoe that they wanted and they end up talking between each other and being like, oh, mais t'as entendu la façon dont il parle, mais c'est un PD quoi. Which roughly translates to, oh my god, have you seen the way he speaks? He sounds like a faggot. Obviously, I'm offended as shit, but I just go along with it. We get to the counter, I give them their bag and their receipt, and I say, allez, voici votre reçu, passez une bonne soirée, espèce d'enculé. Which roughly translates to, here's your bag and your receipt, have an awesome evening, bitch. They were stunned and looking at each other like, oh shit. And they ran out the store. I never seen someone leave the store so fast.
I was at the grocery store buying eggs, and I usually open the box to make sure that there's none that are cracked. And there were 2 girls behind me. The 2 girls, one of them said, Diablo, esta tipa sí dura. And then I turned and I said, bueno, mi amor, tú vas a tener que esperar porque yo estaba aquí primero.
So I once had a business trip wherein I had to meet the partners of my company suppliers from all over Asia. Most of them spoke in Mandarin, and since I'm from the Philippines, everyone assumed that I did not understand a single word of Mandarin. And during dinner, everyone was talking about me, because I was the youngest, and they were saying things like, how could a company send such a young person to this conference? I bet she didn't understand anything, and I bet they just sent her so that someone would represent their company. And I pretended all throughout dinner that I did not understand a single word of Mandarin. And right after dinner, I went to our supplier right in front of all the partners and said, 谢谢你们今晚请我们出来吃饭, which is, thank you for treating us to dinner, in Mandarin. And let's just say everyone was shook as fuck.
So I work at Starbucks, and one day it was just really busy, and we had a customer that was like not being patient. And he was from the Middle East. I'm not sure exactly where he was from, but I can tell he was from the Middle East. And he kept asking where his drink was. And I told him, like, it'll be out soon. We have a lot of drinks right now, so it might be a second. And in Arabic, this guy goes to his friend sitting next to him. طلع حسابي اللي بخدمي تيزو وعم بيقول لي لا انطر. Which in English translate to, look at this small guy that takes it up his ass. He's telling me to wait. When I think about it, it's really funny. I just looked at him and I went, "Mahatan bikhata biti sughayra khayi," which translates to, "No one here takes it up the ass except you, brother." I was like, "Brother, I'm so sorry." He was like apologizing profusely, and he got so red, and he waited patiently for his drink, and I made him wait. I should like talked in Arabic afterwards, and like we were good. We became friends. It was funny.
This one actually isn't bad. There are two ones that are wholesome. I was in Japan. I was taking Japanese like 3, so I had like novice, intermediate fluency in Japanese, and Sensei was encouraging me to speak to people. I was walking down a pier, and these 2 girls around my age walked past me, and they kind of like gave me an up down, and then when I passed by, they were like, "Hey, kakoi hito desu ne," and I was like, "Oh, arigatou gozaimasu," and they were like, "Hey, 日本語を話しますか?" I was like, "Hi." And so then whatever. And then we were at a train station, and it was a group of us, and this old guy like was looking at us like he was just like looking at me, and he looked at his wife, and he was like, "Australia人ですね." And I was like, "Oh, いえです。私たちはアメリカ人です。でも私はベネズエラ人です." And he was like,
I've been waiting for this. This happens to me a lot. So my mom's Mexican. She's from Sonora. I grew up with my mom's side of the family, and I was growing up with my grandma a lot when I was little. She only spoke Spanish. So Spanish was my first language. I didn't learn English until I started kindergarten. When people look at me, they just assume that I'm black. I know a lot of people can tell that I'm mixed, but they don't know what I'm mixed with. And they really don't assume that I speak Spanish. So this happened a long time ago. I was on the bus. There's these 2 Mexican ladies on the bus. They were both like making these side comments to each other. Ay, esta se cree. ¿Quién se cree esta negrita? Mírala. Con esas nalgotas. Ay, no. Just straight up talking mad shit about me. Like loud enough for me to hear it. So before I got off the bus, I very kindly turn around and I say, "Señora, ¿qué hora tienes?" Es que nomás no tengo un reloj y mi teléfono no sé dónde está. So she looked extremely shocked, told me the time, and was completely speechless. Good time.
I've been waiting for this one because this happens to me way too often. So this one time I'm in an Uber, right? Because it's always in the Ubers, and the guy's like, "Oh, is it okay if I take a phone call?" And I'm like, "Yeah, of course, absolutely, whatever." And he right away goes, "Да, Сережа, да, я сейчас на работе, да, конечно, о, да, у меня здесь африканская баба, да, ну знаешь, черная баба, бла-бла-бла-бла." And they're like, "Ха-ха-ха-ха, ну ты сам знаешь, а мне не нравится, ха-ха-ха, африканцы, ха-ха, черная баба, никогда, 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 ха-ха-ха." And I'm like, "Oh my god." I'm like, no way, not today." So he hangs up, and I'm like, "Oh wow, that was a really cool language. Where are you from?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm Russian, ha ha ha, where are you from?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'm half Russian." And he's like, "Ha ha, no way." And I'm like, "No." I'm like, "I'm half Congolese, but I'm also half Russian." And he's like, "Ha ha ha." And I'm like, "А что ты смеешься-то? Ты думаешь, что я не понимала?" И он такой, "О-хо-хо." And he's right away like, "Ух ты, как это, я так пошел ты."
It wasn't like he did not know I knew how to talk English, but when I was in high school, everyone knew I could not hear that good. So one day at lunch, these 2 guys were talking shit about me across the lunchroom, and me being me, I walked up to them and was like, "Don't talk shit about me, I can read your lips." They were so shocked, but look at what I drew. Chris, yay,